All right, welcome back to the School of Shred, everybody. This is the School of Shred, brought to you by the School of Shred Online Health Academy, where you could sign up for your first 90 days today. If you go to theschoolofshred.com, you will get weekly live classes with your peers who are going through the school with you. You will get weekly assignments on all things health and wellness, from the physical to the mental to the spiritual. We have 5 different modules. We have the spirit module, habitat module, recovery, exercise, and diet, baby. We're going to be loading you up at the School of Shred if you sign up right now this week. If you're listening to it live, if you're listening to this week, which is November 17th, we're doing a 30% off special this week. This is a lockdown special we're doing. And so go ahead and go to theschoolofshred.com and sign up today. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to theschoolofshred.com and you'll learn more. So, all right, what's going on here? My internet's being wonky. All right. Am I good? I'm glitching here, I think. All right, so go ahead and throw a flex emoji in the comments if you guys are tuning in live and having some tech stuff going on this morning, which is interesting. Seems like a lot of people who are getting opinionated are having tech issues on all these devices. Weird. So anyway, today what we're going to be talking about, though, is dietary discipline. So this is episode 111. So bear with me here. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear, because on my end, it looks like I'm cutting in and out on the internet. So go ahead and throw me a thumbs up if you're able to watch. It looks like Instagram's completely down. It's not working today, but that's all right. We're going to go ahead and roll on through it. The people who are listening in their cars next week, you're going to be probably cracking up right now, and this will be driving you crazy. All right, so looks like I'm live on Instagram. All right. So anyway, we're going to be talking about dietary disciplines today. What we're going to do is we're going to break down kind of 3 areas that you can develop discipline in with as far as your diet goes. So 3 practical applications. We're going to dig into each of one of them, and I'm going to give you some tips. So get out a pen and a journal and get ready to learn something new, my friends. Okay. All right. We're all good. Everybody can hear me. Awesome. So I looked up the word discipline. A lot of times when we're going to do an episode, I like to look up the word that I'm talking about and just kind of see what it is. Now, discipline, from what we're talking about, is like being a disciplined person, being a regimented person, all that good stuff. That's not what discipline actually means. But anyway, we can take some training from this. So discipline, the definition is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, using punishment to correct behavior. So let's talk about a code of behavior. So that's what we can get into, and that's what we can extract, I think, from this excerpt. Is there's a code of behavior that we want to try and have around the way that we eat in order to lose weight, remain insulin sensitive, have good metabolic health, and have longevity from our lives, be able to build the muscle that we want to, which is, of course, as much natural, beautiful, slabby, shiny, awesome muscle as humanly possible. Am I right, people? Come on now. We want to build muscle too. So, but we want to have good metabolic health when we do that, right? So with that said, we need to adopt this code of behavior. And so how can we construct better dietary discipline? So there's 3 things that I got for you. The first one is we have kitchen. All right. So we can adopt kitchen strategies. So things that we do in our kitchen that we're going to talk about. We can adopt some guidelines, some nutritional guidelines. So some parameters at which we allow ourselves to eat, coming up with a certain rule set. I know some people do not like rules. They think that that's unhealthy when it comes to nutrition, but everything needs rules in this life. So anyway, and then the third one is going to be thoughts. So what do we think about? What keeps us invested in our goal? Okay. So number 1, kitchen. Let's get into that. So the first thing that we can do is we can stop buying tempting or triggering foods. We can get rid of them in our kitchen. Okay, that's the first thing that we can do. So I don't think that some things can stay in the house. Like if you want certain treats and all that, that's fine. It's up to you, really, honestly, at the end of the day. I've done diets in the past where I used to have stuff like that. Now there's certain things that I don't put in my body. And some of those things are what I'm going to talk about here. But, everybody might have their own trigger foods, right? Comfort foods, foods that you are going to be prone to overeating, foods that are highly palatable and highly palatable and might actually cause you to overeat. things like that. So although you can have pretty much any food in a diet and lose fat and lose weight, you can make it way harder on yourself. Okay, so I land somewhere in between, which is where I think most of the truth always lies. Like, a lot of people are they're all calories in, calories out, all right, and that's the only thing that matters. So they have M&Ms and they sneak stuff in and they do if it fits your macro style eating. That's cool. I did that for a while. It can work, but there's some issues that can pop up with that. And there's also some metabolic concerns that I have with that, which is why I'm not comfortable with that style where it's like you have junk food, you just count calories. And I don't think that's good for mentality. And then the other one is like, it's only hormones. And so you can eat as many calories as you want if you don't blip insulin. I don't fully agree with that either. I think it's somewhere in between. And so, but there is trigger foods, I think, that all of us have that make us want to overeat. So if we have a kitchen strategy where we get rid of all of those foods, right? If we really care about our goals and where we want to go, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, getting rid of tempting foods might be a really good option for you. So, things like chips, crackers, cookies, pastas, breads, things that really slow digestion down, might make you bloated, might slowly cause inflammation to go up over time, which might lead to some of these metabolic health issues like insulin resistance and such. And then we have vegetable oil laden products, so things that are polyunsaturated fats. Those guys are highly prone to oxidation and they damage our cells. They damage our blood lipids. They damage the mitochondria that burns energy. It's hard for our mitochondria to actually produce energy from these polyunsaturated fats, specifically when they start to oxidize, which is really, really easily they oxidize. So anyway, and then, and something else is like, I've had to get rid of peanut butter in the past myself, just something like that. Like, a lot of people who go to embark on a diet, that's something they have to just say goodbye to. It is like things like peanut butter because it's very palatable. So anyway, getting rid of those tempting foods and trigger foods can definitely help. The next thing that I want to talk about here is bulk cooking for healthy options. So bulk cooking, so you can do meat for 3 to 5 days at a time. This is a good way to go. So you can just cook up a bunch of chicken, a bunch of beef, a bunch of fish, whatever you want to. If you're doing carbohydrates, you can do a bunch of potatoes in the oven and make a bunch of baked potatoes. So you just have stuff ready for the week. Okay, that way you're not tempted to be ordering out or going out and getting food and things like that, or going into the pantry and finding those tempting foods that you might be having around. So this sets you up for success, and this is all about that planning and preparation and all that. Now, remember, everybody, there's the 6 P's out there. What are the 6 P's, students? Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Okay? That's the 6 P's. So with that said, if you plan ahead of time by cooking ahead of time and you have food always readily available for you, your kitchen is going to be weaponized for discipline. All right? So those are the 2 things for kitchen, is don't buy tempting foods, or AKA trigger foods, things that are going to tempt you to overeat and get you off of your plan and alter this code of behavior that you want to embark in your life, which is sound nutrition to stay healthy, to lose body fat, to reach your goals. And then number 2 is to bulk cook healthy food, so you always have healthy options around. Now let's get into guidelines. So nutritional guidelines, what is that? So it's like again a code of behavior, code of conduct. So how many times you eating a day? That's a guideline. That's a nutritional guideline. At the School of Shred Online Health Academy, one of the first assignments is we set this up. We set up the Shred dietary guidelines, and then we alter them throughout your journey at the School of Shred. But dietary guidelines might look like pre-planned healthy meals. So this is something I've done in the past, and this helped me a lot, which is you can do it either the day before or the every Sunday, where you actually get something like MyFitnessPal and you can plan out all of your meals in advance. Okay, and so back when I used to do a lot of tracking macronutrients and calories and all that, I've gotten away from that over the last, I would say, year, probably 2 years, but I did it for I don't know, about like 6 years straight. Not a bad option. Totally great, especially if you want to dial things in, but not the only option either. But so anyway, but I would, even if you don't want to count and track and weigh your food, but you can still pre-plan your meals in those apps, and they're great applications. So you can pre-plan them, and then that way, when you get to the day, like when you wake up, you don't have to think about what you're going to eat that day. You look at your meal plan that you've created for yourself, and you know it's right where you need to be. It's around the caloric intake that you need. and the macronutrient consumption that you need. And you can kind of see all the details that way. That helps a tremendous amount. It alleviates a lot of stress. It doesn't have you kind of, being caught in locomotion and then making bad decisions. So that's a guideline, though, is pre-planning healthy meals days prior. The second thing is time-restricted feeding or fasting. We talk a lot about that on the show. Okay, there's the Shred Dietary Guidelines. These are Shred Dietary Guidelines. So time-restricted feeding. So if you say, hey, look, I'm not going to eat from 10 p.m. at night until 2 p.m. During the day, well, there you go. Right there, that is a hard and fast guideline that you have. And so that's discipline right there. And so you can eat within those parameters, but you're taking the guesswork out of your nutrition plan. And this can help you achieve your goals big time in a big way. It's just, when you wake up in the morning, you're not a breakfast eater. Okay. And then the last thing is, just because I wanted to be fun here, is a kitchen lockdown. Do a lockdown, do a shutdown, do a kitchen shutdown, do a forced shutdown of your kitchen by time. So like if you have dinner at 7 p.m. and you like to snack late at night, just have a hard and fast rule. It's like after 8 p.m. you don't get anything. So maybe you have a little treat like 8:55, but there's no more opening pantries after 8 p.m. Okay. Hard and fast rule. All right. It's a kitchen lockdown. Seems like we all like to do a lot of lockdowns these days. So you could also start locking your kitchen down to get better metabolic health and build your immunity, baby. All right. How about we start taking care of our health and fitness? All right. So now the next thing we're going to get into is thoughts. So what do you think about? Remember, thoughts become things. What you think about shapes your life, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Unfortunately, I've been there. So thoughts, how can we control our thoughts to create more dietary discipline? Well, the number one way is to revisit your goals frequently. And this is why writing your goals down is so important, you guys. I'm so big into this stuff. Boop, 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 boop. Yep. Could you read that card right there? So I have all my cards right here. All these cards, all these affirmations of things that are going to come true in my life. I'm going to continually read them every single day as I do. It's worked for me throughout the better part of my my adult life. When I started doing it, I didn't believe it. And then stuff started happening. And I started to realize, wow, the thing really keeps me on point. So reviewing your goals, and every day that you get up, you can get a journal out, get a manual out. Or if you were in the School of Shred, you get a 230-page manual where you can revisit your goals every day and keep your mind right. Keep your eye on the prize, okay? And how does this help create dietary discipline? When you wake up in the morning and review your goals and you think about, okay, I want to lose 5% body fat. I want to lose 15 pounds, right? I'm 215 right now. I want to get to 200 pounds by January 15th. And you're thinking about that goal. And you're making that goal a burning desire every time you look at it and every time you acknowledge it, okay? And then when you go about your day, you have fed that into your subconscious mind that that's the path. That's what you should be doing. And then you're also going to be aware of every time that you come to a fork in the road where you can make a bad dietary decision or a good dietary decision. That's going to be one step closer to your goals. See, when we're aware of our goals, we start looking for the fork in the road that leads to those goals, right? We start looking for it. I've used this analogy before, but it's like when, I don't know, if you fall in love with a certain make or model of a car and you start seeing them everywhere, or maybe you buy a new car and you start seeing them everywhere. Like, wow, I never noticed this before. It's not because they weren't around before, you weren't aware of them. When you're aware of your goal, when you create a definiteness of purpose, you start to see the path to that goal. This is a very beautiful thing that unfortunately a lot of us don't consider. It's been written about a lot in history. Is just that idea of writing the goals down, know what your goal is, know where you're going, create a burning desire by reading that goal over and over. Okay. And you do that every day, every single day. You wake up, review your goals, boom. And then you go about your day, and that can create a lot of dietary discipline. Every time I have embarked on my own diet journey or changed my health over the last 12 years, it has been a system of that all the time, making it a burning desire, just always reviewing the goals. But I did it more than just a morning. I became obsessed, where I was always looking at like who I wanted to be, thinking about who I wanted to be, the kind of body, the kind of health I wanted to have. So you want to keep that goal right here at all times. Okay. Now the next thing for thoughts to create dietary disciplines is going to be create the new you. All right. So this kind of leads into this next part. Like, your goal. Now you need to visualize, get creative. Have an imagination again. See yourself becoming what you want. See yourself already in shape. What does that look like? For a lot of us, if we stopped imagining things and we stopped getting creative, this can take some effort. It takes some practice. It's like meditation. Meditation takes practice. It takes practice to start to be able to visualize and see the life that you want, but it is worth it. And when you can see it, it's only a matter of time before it's with you, my friend. So visualize who you are and create the new identity, create the new story that's going to get you to your goals. And that can create dietary discipline, okay? Because if you see yourself as this fit, lean, healthy person with good muscle tone and all that good stuff, and you're thinking about that and you're picturing that, what does that person do? And then you just walk it back from there. So in your mind, you've already gotten the goal, and then you start to picture, what does that person do? Is that somebody who surrenders to every social eating event, or every time that they're stressed, they go and they take it out on the food and they eat? Or is that somebody who maybe has other alternatives that they use and they have discipline and dietary discipline? Okay, so ask yourself that question, picture who you want to be, and that can lead to dietary discipline in the thought category. And then the last thing is thoughts. Realizing in your thoughts and in your thinking that you don't need to eat as much as you think you do. Okay, you don't need to. I have fasted several days before as a lean individual, and do your own research if you want to be doing those long fasts. That's not my responsibility, but I do it, and you realize that you don't need food as often as you think you do. Okay, now if you feel like you need food every couple hours because you get shaky or hangry and all that, that's a sign of poor metabolic health, and you need to look into that and try and nudge that needle to where you become more metabolically resilient, where you can go for periods of time without eating. Because it's clearly defined in human history that we had to go for long periods of time without eating. We didn't always have refrigerators and Safeways and all of that good stuff. Okay, so fast food on every corner. So you don't need to eat as often as you think you do. So that's another thought thing. That's a thinking thing. A lot of us think we need to have breakfast because we've been told our whole lives we need to have breakfast. Breakfast merely means breaking the fast, right? So for most people, it's breaking the fast of an 8-hour time period. But like I said before, we do a whole lot of feasting. We don't do a whole lot of famining. And so a little bit of famine can be good for you in your dietary disciplines. So in review, again, we have kitchen guidelines, which is kind of your parameters for how you eat. And then we have our thought patterns. Those things can create dietary disciplines. You can weaponize them to create more discipline and create a code of behavior and a code of conduct that leads you closer to your goals. And remember, writing your goals down daily, reviewing your goals, it creates awareness to achieve those goals. And it creates the awareness when you come to that fork in the road, you take the right path. Okay. And that's episode 111 of the School of Shred. Whew. Blow this microphone up one day. With that, I want you to stay strong and healthy in body, stay relentless and energized in spirit, and stay determined in your pursuits today, school. That spells shred. Now go shred the day and get better in every way. Go to theschoolofshred.com and sign up for your first 90 days, 30% off this week. We'll see you guys tomorrow.